I used to believe that discipline was something that you either had or you didn't. I used to set these massive goals for myself, like waking up at 5 a.m. every day, eating a perfectly clean diet, working out every day. And then by the end of the week, I would either be burnt out or I would just feel like a total failure. It wasn't that I was lazy, it's just that I didn't know how to stay consistent once the motivation had faded. And to be honest, it made me question if I was even capable of creating the life that I'd wanted. But here's the truth, and the lesson that I've learned is that discipline is not something that you're born with. It's a skill. It's a skill that you can train and you can grow, and the more and more you practice it, the easier it becomes. And if you're tired of constantly starting over, it's time to build something that lasts, because that life that you dream of is waiting for you on the other side of discipline. And by the end of this video, you will know exactly what you need to do to really train and grow that discipline muscle so you can actually get to that life. Something very important that you have to realize is that choosing discipline is choosing yourself. When you can really stick to the commitments that you've made, it's sending out that message to the universe that I am worth the effort, my goals matter, and my future matters. It's all about showing up for yourself, even whenever it's really, really hard. And then on the flip side, if you have inconsistency and procrastination, that's whenever you can really spiral into self-doubt, which then leads to you questioning your worth, and not because you're lazy, but because deep down you know that you're capable of doing so much more. True self-love is not about bubble baths and affirmations. It's about holding yourself accountable. It's being willing to do the uncomfortable work today so that you can live the life that you deserve tomorrow. Discipline is the ultimate form of self-respect, and every time that you practice it, you tell yourself that I am worth this effort. And by the end of this video, you will understand exactly what you need to do to stop the cycle of starting and stopping and starting and stopping, and actually being consistent and disciplined. The first thing you have to do is rewrite the story that you're telling yourself. If you're struggling with discipline, it's probably because of the story you've been telling yourself. That story that you keep repeating in your head is what has been keeping you stuck. Maybe you've started and stopped so many times that you've just lost complete trust in yourself. I know that's happened to me. I would start a healthy lifestyle or this new routine and be really pumped and really amped for it. And once it came time to show up, I would cop out or make up some excuse, and it would snowball into procrastination, which would snowball into self-doubt, and then spiral into I know I can be doing more, but I'm not. And then it leads to just disappointment in myself. And it's just a vicious cycle that you have to break. And I know that has kept me stuck before, and I understand if maybe you've been experiencing the same thing. For me, if I had planned to wake up early and ended up not waking up early, I would just tell myself, oh, I'll do it tomorrow. But deep down, there was this little whisper in my head that's just saying, no, you're not. You're not gonna do it. You didn't do it today, and you're not gonna do it tomorrow. That voice I was hearing in my head, it wasn't just doubt. It was the story that I was telling myself that kept me stuck. It was a story where I wasn't capable, I wasn't consistent, and I was not disciplined. And here's the thing, to fix this, you don't need willpower. You need an identity shift. You need to start telling yourself a different story, one that supports your goals and doesn't sabotage them. And no, you do not have to wait until you've made it to rewrite that story. You can literally start right now. When you change the narrative that you're telling yourself, you are changing and shifting your identity. You are creating one that aligns with the person that you want to be and that you're meant to be. You're obviously drawn to be this version of yourself because it's what you're meant for. But there is a catch, and it's that your brain needs evidence to believe this story. It craves the actions that will match your beliefs. And those beliefs, those are what shape your reality. So, where do you start? How do you change the story that you tell yourself? And the answer is that you start small. Tiny wins build trust, and trust builds discipline. So that's actually gonna lead into my next tip, which is to practice micro-discipline daily. When you're on this journey of reprogramming these beliefs that you've had for so long, the magic's not in the grand gestures. It's in those small, consistent actions that you take every single day. And every time you follow through on a commitment to yourself, that's a win. It's an opportunity to prove something new to yourself, no matter how small that it seems. Say you finished a workout. That just verifies the belief that I'm a person that prioritizes my health. Or say that you wrote for 10 minutes, and that verifies the belief that I am a creative and disciplined person. Or say you chose to take action instead of just procrastinating, and that tells yourself that you are a person that is committed, and you honor those commitments to yourself. And this is exactly how you rewire your brain. You stack and stack and stack these small wins as evidence to yourself, and you start to slowly believe those new beliefs and start telling yourself a new story, thus shifting your identity and creating that discipline for yourself so it becomes the new norm. One of those moments for me came with something as simple as a planner. Normally for my planners, I would just go to Target or Walmart and buy one that was like 20 bucks and just try to hope I'd stick to it throughout the entire year, which there's nothing wrong with those planners, but I found one that I specifically loved this year, and it was quite an investment for a planner, and I hesitated before I even decided to get it. And why did I even hesitate? Because I had a history of buying planners and just not using them consistently, and I didn't want to make this investment and just not use it, because that's what I had proven to myself in the past. So I believed that I was a person that was inconsistent and could not stick to a planner. I didn't trust myself to follow through, and I wasn't wrong. It was just based on past evidence to myself. But then I realized that if I didn't give myself permission to do this and to buy this planner, I would never give myself the opportunity to break that cycle of inconsistencies. You have to give yourself permission to try again. So I bought the planner, and now I use it every single day. It is like the third week of January, and I just started using it at the beginning of the month, and I'm still going strong. I check in with it multiple times a day, and I am reaffirming my new identity that I am a planned and organized person that is consistent and that uses her planner every single day, multiple times a day. The way I look at it is every time I open it, I'm not just writing in my planner. I'm literally, and even metaphorically, rewriting the story that I've been telling myself for so long. I'm no longer inconsistent or disorganized. I'm showing up for myself. And with every single page, I am proving to myself that I am that person that I know I can be. Give yourself the chance to show up for yourself. Start small and let those little victories add up, and watch them not only transform your actions, but also what you believe about yourself. You also have to anchor your discipline to a bigger why. I used to struggle so much with waking up early. My alarm would go off, I would press snooze, grab my blanket, put it back over my head, and go back to sleep. And then whenever I did finally get up, I was so disappointed in myself. I had literally let myself down again. I'd be like, I could have just gotten up then and gotten this, and this done. But now I am waking up after having woken up then, fallen back asleep, keep snoozing my alarm, and now I'm here. I procrastinated, and I did not keep that promise to myself. The whole plan that I'd had the night before of waking up early, getting a good workout, and getting a lot done just felt so out of reach. And the problem wasn't that I was lazy or even unmotivated. It was that I lacked clarity. My why was not strong enough to pull me out of my warm bed. And everyone talks about having a why, which is great, but they stop at the surface level. They stop at, I want to be productive, or I want to be consistent. But that's not enough to ignite true change within you. It's not enough to push you on those hard days. You have to dig deeper. Let's say you want to establish a morning routine. Ask yourself, why do I want this routine? Maybe your answer is, I want to be consistent and productive. That's great, but why do you want to be consistent and productive? Maybe it's so that I can have time to build my business and create financial freedom for myself. So why does that matter to you? Because I want to make an impact. I want to help others and prove to my family that a life that once felt so out of reach is actually possible. Do you see the difference there? That root why, that core why, it just ignites something in you in comparison to just that surface level, I want to be productive, I want to be consistent, versus I want to make an impact, I want to help others, and I want to prove to my family that what that dream was that they thought was so impossible and couldn't happen can actually happen. And then maybe that'll inspire them to create that for themselves so they live a happier, healthier life that they are truly aligned with. It is so much deeper and can drive you on those days because you know that it is your responsibility to make that happen. No one's gonna sit there and be like, hey, like, get up, let's get going, we gotta go make an impact, we gotta go prove to our family that they can create the dream life that they want. No one's gonna do that. You have to do that for yourself. So do not stop at that first answer. Keep asking yourself why until you get to the core of what truly drives you. And that's where your discipline will begin. When learning to build discipline, you also want to use the power of pause. Real discipline isn't just about the things that you do, but it's also about the things that you don't do. Every time that you're faced with a choice, there's that critical moment where you make that decision. It's that little pause before you actually do get to that decision. The power of pause is the ability to take that moment and insert your self-awareness between that impulse and your decision. It's about slowing down long enough to make sure that your actions actually align with your goals, rather than just succumbing to distractions or cravings or just temporary emotions. When we act on impulse, we are prioritizing that short-term comfort over that long-term reward. For example, skipping a workout because you're tired, saying just one more episode, and then watching 3 more. Or maybe procrastinating on a certain task and instead scrolling on your phone just because that's a lot easier. It isn't that you're lazy or that you're unmotivated, you're simply operating on autopilot. That pause allows you to just break that cycle so that you can make a deliberate decision instead of just a reactive one. In doing this, you want to identify the trigger that makes you want to make that reactive decision. Pay attention to the moments where you feel the urge to procrastinate or to deviate from your plan. It might be when you sit down at your desk, when you're scrolling on your phone, or you just get this big wave of fatigue. Then you want to pause for about 10 seconds whenever you do identify this trigger. So when you feel that urge, just stop. Take a deep breath, count to 10, and this brief pause will give you the opportunity to regain control of your actions. In that moment, ask yourself, does this choice align with my long-term goals? How will I feel about this decision tomorrow? Am I acting based on what I want now or what I want most? And with that clarity from your reflection, make that choice that aligns with your goals and your vision and not the one that's just comfortable. So you're less likely to make those impulsive decisions. You'll boost the confidence in yourself because every action and choice that you make will be in alignment with your goals, and you'll just overall strengthen your discipline. That pause will just become second nature to you, and over time is going to help you stay more consistent. So you're not just relying on motivation. It just becomes the norm. That pause between your impulse and your decision is where your power lies. It's not about perfection, it's about consistently choosing the actions that align with your future self. And you want to use your future self as your accountability partner. We often think of discipline as denying ourselves of something that we want in the moment. But in reality, that discipline is just an act of generosity towards your future self. Every decision that you make creates ripples, and it affects who you're going to be tomorrow, next week, next month, next year, and for the next 10 years. But imagine this. future you wakes up 1 year from today and they feel proud, they feel accomplished, they feel healthy and closer than ever to the life that they've always wanted. That version of you did not get there by accident. They got there from the small, consistent choices that you're making today. When you can reframe discipline as a way to take care of future you, it's no longer a sacrifice. It's about intention and self-respect. You're not just delaying gratification. You're investing in the life that you want. So close your eyes and picture future you a year from now. What does that person look like? How do they feel? What have they achieved? Picture this person on the day-to-day. How do they move? How do they work? How do they feel about themselves? And then connect today's choices to that future vision. When you're faced with a choice, use that power of pause and really ask yourself, is this decision helping or hurting the person that I want to become? Whether it's skipping a workout, or staying up too late, or scrolling on your phone for an extra hour. That question will bring you so much clarity. When you can visualize yourself in the future, it creates this emotional bond with that future version of yourself and makes you really care so much more about the small choices and actions that you make today and how they affect that long-term version of you. And instead of beating yourself up for any missteps or any mistakes, you're motivated by the idea of helping someone that you truly care about. Every small, consistent action that you take today is a gift to your future self. It's a promise that you're building a life that you are proud of. We also need to talk about one of the most important aspects about building discipline for yourself, and that is creating a system that works for you and that you can actually show up for. Discipline is not about sitting here and overwhelming yourself with all these giant, unrealistic goals. It is literally about showing up, making those small choices, hitting those consistent actions, and all of those compounding over time into these big results. And it's about showing up even whenever it's not perfect. And the best way for you to even stay consistent is to build a system that works for you and that you can easily show up for. A system is a path to your success. Think about going up a mountain. You're not gonna just leap from the bottom of the mountain all the way to the top. You're gonna take it step by step by step, and you're going to pave the path all the way up to the top. And that's exactly what a system is going to do for you. I read this in Atomic Habits, and honestly, it's probably one of the most important things I pulled from the book because I'd never heard of creating a system for your goals. It was always just set goals. But truly, if you can create a system to get to your goal, there's no way you can't hit it. All you have to do is literally show up for your system. You want to start small, but you also want to be specific. So instead of saying, I want to be more disciplined, break that down a little bit more. If you want to work out, commit to 10 minutes a day. If you want to read more, commit to reading for 5, 10, 15 minutes a day. If you want to get more organized, write down your 3 priorities every single day. By having these very small but very clear actions are what are going to give you those little wins and help you build momentum and therefore that trust in yourself and therefore create discipline and really rewrite that story that we talked about. Your system also should not rely on willpower. You need to make it easy for yourself to show up, whether it's laying out your workout clothes the night before, keeping your journal or your planner in a spot where you're going to see it, or just turning off notifications whenever you're focusing on a task. Discipline grows when the path to action feels simple, not overwhelming. You also want to track your wins, so I personally love to use a habit tracker because no matter how small the win is, it deserves to be celebrated. Whether it's crossing something off of your to-do list, crossing off a workout, or finishing up another meal that you prepped the day before so you could make sure you had a healthy meal to eat today. Tracking your wins and tracking your habits are going to be even more evidence to yourself that you're creating this new identity. It's going to build that evidence that you are a person who follows through. And your system isn't set in stone. It's a living, breathing, flowing thing, so always feel like you can make the adjustments that you need to. If something's not working, just tweak it. And remember, the goal is not perfection, it's progress. Humans are not happy unless we're making progress, so really just focusing on that and not the perfection, it's gonna give you that fuel that you need, and again, it's gonna help you shift that identity and create those new beliefs for yourself. And discipline is a muscle, so the more you use it, the stronger and stronger it gets. So it is incredibly important to show up even whenever you don't feel like it, and even whenever it's messy. And whenever you create the system that you can show up for, you're not just building discipline, but you're building that trust in yourself. And whenever you build that trust in yourself, anything is possible. I really hope these tips helped you out and gave you some clarity. I know they've helped me a ton in my own journey of building that discipline muscle for myself in a lot of different aspects of my life. So thank you so much for watching. If you did enjoy the video and it did help you out, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe down below so that I know. Thank you so much for watching and for being here, and I will catch you in my next video. Bye.